Hey everybody, so I'm Nathan and I'm going to be doing question 8 on page 46. The question is, with a tailwind, a plane flew the 3,000 kilometers from Calgary to Montreal in 5 hours. The return flight against the wind took 6 hours. Find the wind speed and the speed of the plane. So we know that a tailwind is when the wind's with the plane, pushing it further. And so he basically went 3,000 kilometers in 5 hours with the wind helping him. So we can find the speed because speed equals distance over time. So speed equals 3,000 over 5. Now we find divided by 5, and that equals speed equals 600 kilometers per hour. So that's basically how fast he was going, the average speed from Calgary to Montreal with the wind. Now for the next question, it says on the return flight against the wind, it took 6 hours. So that's the same distance. So speed equals distance over time. Speed equals 3,000 divided by 6. That equals 500 kilometers an hour. So that's his average speed on his return back. So basically, now we know that the speed of his first one was 600 kilometers an hour, and on the second one was 500 kilometers. Now the first one, the wind would have affected him positively by boosting his speed, and the second one, the wind would have affected him negatively by decreasing his speed. But because the wind was the same, we know that if we just subtract 600 kilometers an hour and 500 kilometers an hour from 600 kilometers an hour, we can find the difference that the wind made throughout the whole trip. So that's 100 kilometers an hour. That's the difference, the complete difference of the whole thing. Now, to find out the total speed, now the wind made differences twice, both being the same. So to find the speed of the actual wind, we just divide this by 2, which equals 50 kilometers an hour. And we do that because the wind affected 2 trips. And so it affected 2 trips with a total of 100 kilometers an hour. So we divide it by 2 because the wind stayed the same, and we get 50 kilometers an hour, which is the average of both trips. So now we have the average of both trips. Now for the first trip, he went 600 kilometers an hour total with the wind and the plane. So we subtract 50 kilometers an hour from the wind to find out the speed of the plane. That leaves us with 550 kilometers an hour. Now we can also do the same thing with the other one. 500 kilometers an hour plus 50. We're adding because before the speed had increased the wind had increased the total speed, so we're subtracting it to find out what the original plane speed was. Now we're subtracting it because adding because the wind had actually decreased the speed. Now we're adding it to find the original speed. That's 550 kilometers an hour. Sorry, my rating's terrible. That's the exact same as this one. It's going to be the same at all times. So now we know that the wind was 50 kilometers an hour and the plane speed was 550 kilometers an hour on both trips. One of them, the wind was helping, the other one, it wasn't. That's all it is. Thanks for watching the video.